Hey y'all, it's Pam with Living in Charlottesville. Thanks for stopping by. Today you caught a great one because I'm going to talk about the pros and cons of living in Fluvanna County. So, what's Fluvanna? Where's Fluvanna? Well, Fluvanna is actually on the southeastern border of Albemarle County. It actually used to be a subdivision of Albemarle County before it was annexed into its own. So it's actually tucked down between Columbia and the James River, which used to be called the Fluvanna River, thus Fluvanna. So let's go. So, a big reason I wanted to talk about Fluvanna is because a lot of people worry that Charlottesville, Albemarle, and the cost of living is too high. So, we see them spreading out into the outer lying counties. Now, not that that's a big deal because actually, we used to live in Lake Monticello, which is in Fluvanna. It's actually in Palmyra. We bought a brand new house. It was the second house my husband and I ever owned, and we lived outside the gate. But it was a beautiful house. We lived on a cul-de-sac. I'm a cul-de-sac girl. So a big number one, affordability. The big, according to bestplaces.com, much more bang for your buck as far as housing. The cost of living index is 95.1, which means the total cost of housing, food, childcare, transportation, healthcare, taxes, and other necessities to live is 4.9% lower than the US average. And even better, it's 8.7% lower than the other counties in Virginia. So before I jump into con number one, because I'm going to be honest with you, remember that if I can help you with anything as far as living in Charlottesville or the surrounding area, please drop me a note, shoot me an email, give me a call, whatever works best for you. We'll chat, we'll see if we're a good fit, and we'll see if I can help you with living in Charlottesville. I work with people from all over the country, and actually, I've worked with multiple people from outside the country because we have folks PCSing here from outside with the Armed Forces, Department of Defense, things like that, and they're coming to the Charlottesville Rivanna station. So I would be very honored and happy to help however I can. So con number one, in my opinion, this is not coming off some list. In my opinion, there's a major schlep factor going on with living in Fluvanna County. You live in Albemarle pretty much anywhere except for Scottsville, but you live in the most of Albemarle, you don't have a lot of schlep factor. City of Charlottesville, you don't have schlep factor. You have transportation, public transportation. You have dog parks. You have grocery stores, drugstores. Fluvanna, you're going to have your services, and actually it has built up a lot since I have lived there. We lived there. We had the little Food Lion shopping area. So we had, I think, one or two banks. We had the Food Lion as our grocery and a couple little things. I think there was a Subway and something else. It has grown. The schlep factor is much better. You can stay out there. But if you're very picky, like you're a Wegmans girl or you're a Whole Foods boy, or your veterinarian is up at the airport, then there's going to be a major schlep for you. There's plenty of services there. It's not, because again, it has grown. But if you don't like people, I get it. It may be a good fit, right? Because I actually saw a study about that in the past 4 years, people are moving away from people, which Fluvanna might really work for you then. But there is the major schlep factor. Grocery stores there, you're going to have an IGA and a Food Lion. They're going to be very separated. They're not going to be next door to each other. There's an ABC store. Remember, that's our alcohol beverage control. Those are run by the state, the Commonwealth of Virginia, and that's where you buy all of your hard liquor and things like that. Wines, beers can be purchased in grocery stores. drugstores, convenience stores, but your hard stuff has to come from an ABC store, and there is one out there. There's several small restaurants. Some are chain, but most are going to be very small, mom and pop, and all the ones I know of are very, very good. So that's always a bonus. But your closest major shopping, your closest Lowe's, your closest Walmart will be in Zion's Crossroad. So remember, Zion's Crossroad is going to be going further east into Louisa. If you have not seen that video, make sure you check out Living in Louisa, because their cost of living is even less than Fluvanna. And I would say they have a better schlep factor. But anyways, okay, so if you're interested in Louisa, go check that out. But your major shopping, Walmart, Lowe's, some other major chains. There is a Sheetz gas station, IHOP, Starbucks. All of that is going to be up at Zion's Crossroads in Louisa. There's also several banks up there and gas stations. To give you an idea more with the schlep factor, let's say you live in Lake Monticello. Remember, it's Monticello. It's on one of my very first videos. It's not Monticello, it's Monticello. So Lake Monticello to Pantops, which is going to be on that border, Albemarle, city of Charlottesville, is going to be about 25 minutes. And that's average. So if it's heavy travel time, it's going to be closer to 35. If it's less, you could probably get away with it in 20 minutes. And also depending where you're coming from. If you're not coming as far away from the lake, or you're going somewhere other than Pantops, it will vary according to what your needs are. Also, what if you were going to the airport? Well, Lake Monticello to Cho is going to be about 40 minutes. So again, multiple ways you can get there, including Interstate 250, back roads, things like that. But there's not a lot of cut around. It's going to be about 40 minutes because Cho, the airport, is going to be located on the north end of Albemarle County. Well, what about on the opposite? Because here's what we're seeing more and more. We're seeing a lot of more split households who are loving the Fluvanna area because of cost of living and location. So they have split households. One person may work in the Richmond area, and one person may work in the Charlottesville, Albemarle area. Obviously, schools, plenty of schools, not a problem. But the location of, say, Lake Monticello again, to Short Pump, which is the edge of Richmond, is going to be about an hour. So if you jump on 64, which is very, very easy to do, there's actually a couple different places. From 64 jumping on around the Lake Monticello area, Zion's Crossroad and all that, it's about an hour to Short Pump. Of course, your mileage may vary. If you're going to the Richmond airport, because that is our closest international airport, it's going to be about an hour, 20 minutes. So again, not a huge, especially somebody coming from a very congested area. Some people commute an hour each way every day anyways. I would rather slit my wrist than do something like that. Please do not, but I'm just saying I can't do an hour commuting each way. So there you go. Con number one, major schlep factor. Pro number two for pros and cons of living in Fluvanna. Pro two is going to be truly something living for everyone. So there are 55 and better communities. There are brand spanking new townhomes. There are older townhomes, resales. There are cinder block cottages. There's the full gamut. If you have a particular want or you seek a particular home, you should be able to find it in Fluvanna County. Most of the time, unless you are in especially one of the newer areas, your lot size is going to be fairly large. Actually, if you want an acre and a half, that would not be uncommon. Most likely you would not be in a subdivision. But again, there is something for everyone in Fluvanna County. So moving right along, con number two, and that is going to be really obvious when you drive through here. It's like Albemarle or Charlottesville or any place else, we've experienced a tremendous growth. There has been tremendous growth in Fluvanna County. Again, it was a very rural area, a lot of green space. So unfortunately, there's been a lot more development. To give you an idea, Fluvanna's population increased by 28% between 2000 and 2010, according to the U.S. Census Bureau. Currently, Fluvanna is sitting just shy of 28,000 residents. The Weldon Cooper Center at the University of Virginia projects the population climbing to over 28,000 by 2030, and that's hard to believe that that's just a few years away, and by 2040 being over 31,000, and by 2050 being over 35,000. Now, with this, you're going to also, again, another reason you want to work with somebody that you can trust and knows what's going on. Because with this, we're already seeing a lot of quantity builders who are jumping in. It actually reminds me, some of the areas and some of the projects, actually development projects is what I mean. Some of the projects remind me of the housing boom in the early 2000s, when it was like, oh, hey, you can swing a hammer, come on, come join our team. I'm starting to get that vibe again. So you really want to know which builders have a good reputation and have done due diligence, that I've worked with them, that I have references, that I know how their follow-up is. Maybe it might not always be the initial. I worked with one builder, they're definitely a quantity builder, during the contract phase. So nothing had been signed, no money had exchanged, but during the contract phase, the builder's representative, this again is why you want to make sure that you're represented, even with new construction, because the builder is represented and you want to make sure that you are too. Our buyers wanted X done with the stairway. They wanted the stairway to be hardwood instead of the standard underlay that then carpet or vinyl or whatever would go on. The builder representative was like, oh, no problem. That's easy peasy, blah, blah, blah. So we signed the contract. Everything's going fine. My clients are going into the house as it's going up, which you should never do. And they're starting to notice that when the roof was put on, that the nails missed all the main beams. So it's like, here's the main beam and the nails were coming in on either side of it. So that was one terrifying thing. And then there was other things too, but the biggest one that came to fruition was the stairs went in, and by now they were locking the house because people were going in there. Who would have thought? When we finally were able to get in, the stairs had gone in and then they had subfloor on them. And we were like, oh, no, these are supposed to be hardwood. And we've paid additional for that, and that's what we're expecting. So up and up with the subfloor, and let's get this corrected. Needless to say, their contract, which even with you being represented, you're going to be using their contract. So you want to make sure that you understand it as well. But what it came down to was, oh, well, their representative misspoke. And that's actually not their fault. So they ended up not doing it the way our clients wanted it done. They ended up just completing it the way it was and giving them the money back that they had paid in addition. So was it what our clients really, really wanted? No. It worked out because our clients ended up moving within like a year and a half anyways because of a job change. But still, imagine walking by those stairs every time, especially if you're writing a check for the next 30 years every month, and you know those are not the steps you wanted. To me, that would be very, very irritating. But that's what you're going to get. Rapid growth, questionable, you want somebody on your side, but rapid growth is definitely a con number 2. So pro 3, well, it's actually sort of twofold. One is it's a lovely green space. It's a lovely green county because that's what it was. It was predominantly an agricultural county. And as the developments are coming in, that's being eliminated. But you can still find quite a bit of land and quite a bit of trees. The other part of that is The physical location, it is going to put you close to Charlottesville amenities and also putting you on the eastern edge of Richmond, just down the road from Richmond on 64. So again, it's nice and green, again, depending on where you choose to live, but location physically is also, I mentioned it earlier, very good between Charlottesville and Richmond. On number 3, well, it's going to be a big one if this is on your short list of Duke cannot stand, and that is all of the larger organized communities. And actually, I would say 100% of any community built within the past 10 years it's going to have an active HOA. So again, when we bought the house in Lake Monticello, one of the reasons that we bought outside the gate, because it is a gated community with different gates and everything, but they also have several outside the gate sections. I would never have bought inside the gate because I had many friends who lived there, and they told me they would get love notes from the HOA to put their trash can in, don't put their trash can out, remove the fake flowers, put in this, do that, get the mildew off your mailbox. If you're not an HOA kind of person, recognize that, and we need to discuss it, because any of the new construction is going to be very uniform and it's going to have an HOA. Going to the Lake Monticello one, because that's the one most people ask me about, because it's a great area for affordable housing, smaller houses, and a variety of houses. Plus, you do have a ton of amenities. Currently, the Lake Monticello HOA runs about $1,200 a year. So when you think about it, that's about $100 a month, which is not bad. But when you're buying out there, it costs you, the buyer, $800 for them to create a file with your name on it, which I find absolutely astounding. But yes, $800. And that is just to get to go. You can't go past go, just to get to go. $800 at closing to create a new file. Amenities at the lake, to give you an idea, for $1,200 a year. Obviously, there is a lake, and that's included for all residents to be able to use. There are boat launches. There is a marina. Anything like that is going to be an extra fee. There are playgrounds. They actually just opened an all-access playground, which I love. They've got basketball courts, tennis courts. They actually do have a brand new pool, and they also are one of the Jefferson Swim League participants during the summer. The pool is an additional cost. So you can head to the lake at one of the multiple beaches and enjoy the lake, and that's included in your HOA. But if you want to do the pool, there is a membership fee for that. Also, if you live, again, on the main street, because an overview of Lake Monticello is it's just a huge round circle with a smaller circle and a lot of wigglies in between. If you live on that main road, active HOA, which, hey, I understand. Some people want that because they have been burned elsewhere. So if that's what you need, that's what you want, be aware of that. But again, you want to know what these neighborhoods mean. So make sure you're reaching out to me. Give me a call, drop me a text, shoot me a message. Let's see if living in Charlottesville or Lake Monticello is right for you. Moving right along, we are going to pro number 4. Pro number 4, really low crime rate. So if that's what you're moving from and you want to move towards, now Fluvanna, again, has a larger footprint, so it's going to be harder to access places, but overall, in the scheme of things, Fluvanna has a lower crime rate on average in the state of Virginia and overall in the nation. So moving up to con number 4. I always try to mention this because I think one goes into the other. If you're moving into an outlying area, and the main area of Charlottesville, Albemarle. And I know I've kidded about this before, and I know there are things to do, but limited evening activities. Well, as you go out from the city of Charlottesville, you go out, less activities, less. So Fluvanna One of the main complaints that I see in here is that there are limited activities for children, but more so, there's just limited evening activities at all. There are restaurants you can go enjoy a nice dinner. There are areas you can go horseback riding, you can go four-wheeling, but overall, there are very limited activities. So if that's important to you, keep that in mind. So a big one coming up next, and that is pro number 5. The median income in a household in Fluvanna County is actually going to be just shy of $82,983. So again, great numbers, less cost of living, more income. That can be a combination that is very attractive to a lot of people. Con number 5, and this is one that I have experienced time and time again with myself and with my clients, because like I said, I've lived there. I haven't lived there in about 20 years. So from what I understand, it's gotten worse. And from what I can see with working with my clients who do move out into the area, it has gotten worse. Utility companies, where you live in Fluvanna, can make a huge difference on your utility companies and fees. Specifically, if you're in Lake Monticello, they are with Aqua Virginia. And Aqua Virginia, let's just say they're special. They took over after my husband and I moved out. They took over an aged infrastructure and they jacked up the fees tremendously, but there's not been any improvement. And because of aging, it's now 20 years later, so the infrastructure is even worse. Quite often, you'll experience water line breaks, and then you'll have boil alerts. So in Fluvanna, if you are on a septic and well, fabulous, that's great. But if you're on a utility company, to give you an idea with the water costs for Aqua Virginia. Now, Aqua Virginia does not service all of Fluvanna County. There's, I think, 2 or 3 different ones in Fluvanna. But Palmyra, I think Aqua Virginia does a lot of Palmyra, but they definitely do the lake and everything. And this is something I want all of my home buyers to know out there, because it's on your budget, it's on your bottom line. I live, as you know, in Charlottesville, Albemarle, and it's public water, public sewer. My water sewer bill every month, it's about $30, $35 a month. On occasion, let's say spring or some summer months, you're washing your cars, you're watering your garden, it may get up to $50, but on regular with Aqua Virginia, and in Lake Monticello, the water bill for a household of 2, the low average is $100 a month. So when you're looking at the cost of living, housing costs, HOAs, all of that's on your budget line. If you have a high utility bill, you want to make sure to be aware of that as well. Okay, there you go. So Fluvanna County, Palmyra, Virginia, Lake Monticello. Could any of these be options for you? And there's lots more. These are just examples. Remember, Fluvanna County is the overall large county to the southeastern side of Albemarle County. Palmyra is the town center, and Palmyra is also where Lake Monticello is, and a lot of other brand new, like dirt settling development is going on. Lots and lots of options. Remember our pros and cons, but remember also, no matter which direction you want to go, if this is of interest, if you're not sure, reach out to me, shoot me a text, give me a call, drop me an email. Let's chat and let's see if this is an area to leave on your potential list when living in Charlottesville. So as I mentioned, I've done some other pros and cons for some outlying areas and for the city of Charlottesville and for Albemarle County. Make sure to check those out, and you can sort of get a good idea about some potentials to put on your short list. But until next time, hope y'all have a fantastic afternoon. And if you enjoyed anything about this video, would really appreciate if you hit that like button and let me know if you have any questions, or if there are certain topics that you want to know about or know more about. Maybe you want to know more about Lake Monticello. Maybe you want to know more about the new subdivisions in Fluvanna. Whatever it is, my name is Pam Worley. I'm a realtor here in Charlottesville, Virginia, and I want to see you living in Charlottesville.